Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. I am your host, John Ryan, and I have a debut today. These are always great, and I'm psyched to have Jesse Schule on the show today. Let me tell you a little bit about him first, because as everybody knows about me, I can promote and brag to the best about other people, but when it comes to myself, it doesn't happen very often. So Jesse is a professional sports bettor and handicapper, a new member now, a little bit more than a month, I believe, over at Sportsmemo.com, a big asset to the team. And on his profile page, you can actually see this of what I'm going to basically read to you. And he says here he's no soothsayer, and I like that already, and he doesn't have a crystal ball, but Jesse Schule can indeed predict the future. And I agree with this, and you guys have seen this many, many times, that past performances can be a tool to use for current situations and the matchups. So I agree 100%. And as a professional handicapper, it's actually part of his job description. His clients have accused him of secretly possessing Marty McFly's Sports Almanac, which I swear to you, I actually watched that movie last night. I kid you not. But he tells us the secret to his success is thanks in part to his fascination with history. The idea you can predict the future by studying the past is nothing new, and historians have been doing it for years. So I'm going to turn it over to Jesse now. Welcome to the show, and let him go on with that and tell you personally what sports he does. Today we're going to feature the EURO2020 event, which I'm learning an awful lot about, and it's an exciting event to say the least. But Jesse, welcome to the show, and thanks for your time to be on the show.
Thanks for having me on, John.
You bet. So what sports do you do for your clients?
I do everything. I do all the major pro sports, of course, college sports, but I'm big on soccer, as you know. I'm really big on this Euro tournament. I've had some past success in the last two World Cups, even MLS and all the domestic leagues in Europe. I play all the soccer, CFL. I do not play WNBA. That's about the only sport that you would maybe think that I could bet on that I don't.
Gotcha.
Got nothing against the ladies. I just don't know a lot about it.
And I know you do well with the handicapping systems and your methods. Can you touch upon some of those for the people who are just getting to know you?
Well, like I say in the bio there, those who do not know the past are doomed to repeat it, right? So you do a lot of studying on past performance. I don't do my picks just based solely on trends. I like to get a feel for how things are going, and things can change pretty quick. So I really focus on a wide variety of situational, emotional. I'll ride a hot team, but I'll also pay close attention to the history, the trends, the stats. I wouldn't call myself an advanced analytics guy.
Fair enough. Now, like I said, to everybody that I have any soccer guru like yourself on the show, I'm fascinated with it now. I don't think I ever really took the time to get involved with it the way I am, and these shows are helping me immensely. So I think for anybody out there in the audience listening to this live or in archived manner, this is great for you to listen to, because I'm going to be asking questions, or he's going to present it in a way that is easy to understand and allows you to tail him. And I would highly recommend doing that. And of course, I would highly recommend going over to sportsmemo.com and buying a subscription. And like I've been saying, you don't buy one pick. If he has a 5-unit game of the month, 10-unit game of the year, what have you, don't fall prey to that, because all of us can and will lose those types of plays from time to time, and it sours people. If you get a 30-day subscription, number one, it doesn't cost that much, and you're investing in yourself to have a guy that is a proven commodity in Jesse Schule work for you. And that's the whole point of Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com, is we're trying to get you to the cash in the tickets as often as possible, and then we know how to do it. So Jesse, in the groups now in the Euro 2020, the groups are finishing up, I believe, today and tomorrow. I saw that Italy is already matched up against Austria, I believe, for Saturday. So, if you don't mind, explain how these groups work, because they are a little bit different than like American baseball youth tournaments, where you play a round robin and then the team that has the best record advances to the playoffs. It's a little bit different, and soccer in Europe is a bit more complex than any other sport here in the United States. So I'll let you explain how that all works.
Well, I'm not European, but I have a pretty good handle on it. But so, I mean, they have the group stages and they break it down into 4 teams per group. And the top 2 teams get an automatic berth to the round of 16 knockout round. But a few of the third place teams, the better third place teams, also have a chance to qualify.
Okay, so we have a few teams that have already been identified. So they'll take I think what you said there, they take a handful of third place teams.
Hmm.
So you could theoretically, I guess, have no wins and a couple draws and actually make it into the next round.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's where the fun part comes, people. I mean, you don't have draws in the United States in the major sports. Of course, you have the same betting opportunities in the United States soccer leagues as you do in the European. But this Euro 2020 is exciting stuff. So I know you have a pretty strong opinion involving Italy, and they certainly probably were not the favored, one of even the top 5 favorites coming into the Euro 2020, but now I think they are, and for good reasons. And I think there's a player on your radar that you like quite a bit.
Yeah, that's right. I was pretty big on Italy coming into the tournament, I must admit. I didn't have the cojones to bet on Italy to win outright. I just didn't think they were offering quite a big enough price because the Italians haven't done a lot in the last decade. But I did bet on them in the opening match against Turkey. And if you read the analysis, or anybody out there read the analysis, you would see that I did project that Italy would go deep into this tournament. But they've even exceeded my expectations. They haven't conceded a goal yet. They won all their matches convincingly. They even decided to rest players in their match against I think it was Wales, their final match. And but what I really like is I like Italy's best player, Ciro Immobile, at 25 to 1 to win Player of the Tournament. And the reason I like that so much is because Italy's actually become one of the favorites to win the whole tournament. So they're expected to go deep into the tournament. They draw a really favorable matchup in the first round of the knockout round against Austria. They're a heavy favorite in that match. And from there, they've got 3 more games to win. And, if they do end up winning it, Immobile would have an excellent chance of being the player of the tournament. He's only played 2 matches so far. He was rested in their third match. He scored a goal in both of those matches. So he's on form. Italy is on form. It's a bit of a long shot, but I think 25 to 1 is too big a price. I think a fair price would be somewhere between 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1 maximum. And that kind of value, I can't pass it up.
Yeah, it sounds good to me too. Definitely a good breakdown there. How does a guy like Immobile compare to like a Ronaldo? I guess who is arguably the best player on the planet. Kind of like the
Still
Michael
probably
Jordan
the
of
best player on the planet, even at his age. He's amazing. Well, the quick answer is he doesn't compare to Ronaldo. Nobody does. Maybe Messi, but even that, I think Ronaldo's on a planet of his own. But I guess the argument is that Italy's team is far better than Portugal's team. Certainly, they're playing better than Portugal at the moment. So the team itself has a better chance than Portugal to carry on into the tournament. Um, so
Yeah, that's good to know. I
also,
mean, it's good information. It's not just one player leading a team like like LeBron James was the guy to lead his team to the promised land, and it's good to know when you're handicapping these soccer matches that it's more the what the team is able to do as a whole, and not just one guy scoring all the goals. So that's good to know. And I agree with it. I think the team that wins is going to be the one that has the best chemistry and gets the job done.
Well, you might notice in soccer you have like a guy like Robert Lewandowski. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, but
Sure.
he's been one of the best goal scorers over the last decade. He's the striker for Bayern Munich, and he scores an incredible amount of goals. He's a great player, but great goal scorers need great service, and if you don't have a great midfielder setting him up and a great team behind him and a great defense that's going to win the ball and move it up,
Yep.
then he's going to be rendered not as effective. And I think Poland, they lost today to Sweden, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to move on. I don't think they are.
And what was the odds on and the type of bet you were making on Immobile to? I think you said he was going to be the basically the player of the tournament.
Hmm.
Is that right?
That's right. A
And it was like
25-1 payout.
yeah, 25-1, right at Bet 365.
Hmm.
And you like Bet 365 a lot, so this is a site that I used to follow, and I'm glad you brought this up because shopping for the best lines is always a wise thing to do, and this is definitely on my radar now because you mentioned it. So if you want, give us a few examples of where you've been able to get incredible. Actually, it has been incredible value. I think there's one that you have on your radar now that is actually probably mispriced based on the Montreal Canadiens in their Game 6 matchup coming up. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I liked Montreal right from the beginning. I have some pending bets on Montreal already to win the series. First, I bet on them at Bet365 plus 2.5 games. So only 3 games into the series, that was already a winner. I also bet on them in Game 3 to win the game and the series. I think that was almost 5-1 on that bet. And now, of course, they're coming back home. Game 6 is in Montreal. Montreal can eliminate Vegas, and they may not do. I mean, but they're actually an underdog in the game. Bet365 is offering plus 125 on Montreal to win the game, despite the fact that everybody can plainly see Montreal's been the better team the entire series. I mean, it's 3-2 in the series, but the series hasn't been close. The games that Vegas has won, they've had to come from behind. They've been outplayed. They got lucky. The referees are hugging them after they score goals and calling a ton of penalties on Montreal. All signs indicate Montreal moving forward. However, plus 125 is a fair price for Montreal at home. But how about plus 150? That sounds a lot better. And if you look at the futures, the price on the series now, current price is plus 150, which is, of course, a far better bet when you get 2 chances to win a game and more money back.
Yeah, I'm looking at that page right now. Montreal's 15-4 at Bet 365. So exactly right. Do you
Seems
think
like a
it'd be
clear
better
mistake.
to bet the futures and not the game, or the other way around?
Well, if you can get the odds that I saw this morning, plus 150, you're getting 2 chances, right? I mean, of course, that's better.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, because 15-4 is almost 4-1. Yeah, it's much better because they probably will play the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Or you're looking at them to win the championship.
Yeah, to win the cup.
No, I was just looking at them to win the series.
Right, but I was thinking that if they win the series, then they're going to advance to the Stanley Cup.
Well, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Tampa's
Yeah.
pretty good. They're the defending champs. I hadn't gotten that far yet, but you know, as I said, history, know your history, and history suggests that Tampa's pretty tough. The history so far in the last 5 games has told us that Montreal's the better team in this series. So, that's why I really like the plus 150 just to finish off this series.
Yeah, and to your point, Vegas right now to win the cup is 3.5-1, and they're down in the series
Hmm.
against the Canadians. I mean, they're not even like leading that series, and they're that expensive. And you're right. I think
Well,
Montreal is playing much better than Knights, and they're playing much better as a team.
I don't know if I should pile on Bet365, but over the years I've exposed quite a few of their mistakes in the past, dating back to 2017 when the Warriors were playing the Cavs in the championship in the finals. I believe it was one of the biggest lines in history. The Warriors were one of the biggest favorites in the history of the NBA Finals. They were something like 10-1, and Bet365 they were offering player performance totals for the series. And despite the fact that the Warriors were such a huge favorite, they just went by season averages, and they
Wow.
used season averages times six. So they I guess their logic was an average series goes 6 games, right? Some finish sooner, some go seven, but an average series goes 6 games. But this wasn't an average series. This was a 10-1 favorite. So you're thinking sweep, 5 games maximum. Um, and so I was able to put out a half a dozen bets. I think I shorted the player performance totals for the starting five of the Cavs because, of course, they were the underdog. They were projected to score less, even fewer points. And the series was projected to be done in 4 or 5 games. And unless they were going to double their season averages, there was no way they were going to reach those totals. Ended up sweeping that finals, going 6-0 with those bets.
That's awesome. Congrats. You've done
So
pretty well
bet
in the Super Bowls too. I saw on the profile page, folks. You can see some really good historical records that he has accomplished. 5-0 in his Super Bowl bets, which is that's 100%. And you don't get 5-0,
well
pitching pennies against the wall and getting lucky, getting heads 5 times in a row. You just doesn't happen.
to be fair, I think that was Super Bowl 50 that I was 5-0 on. I don't go 5-0 on every Super Bowl.
Oh, I see. Okay, I misread it. I got you. Good
I think that
point.
was Super Bowl 50.
Yep.
Uh, a bunch of prop bets at Bet365. They often have these odd numbers that they put out that don't appear to be correct, and I'm always looking to take advantage of really any game, any event, any tournament, any playoff. I'm going to approach it. I'm going to look at every available bet. I'm going to look at first periods in hockey, player prop bets, players to score goals, everything that they're going to offer. I would suppose that you would do the same if you walk into the
Absolutely.
Westgate. You're going to look at that board. You're just going to keep on looking at that board until something jumps out at you, right?
Absolutely. No reason not to.
And it's the same thing when you're sitting at home. The playoffs are about to start. You look at every book you can. I don't just hang out at Bet365. I'm going to Five Dimes, Pinnacle, whatever, wherever I can find the value, looking for that odd bet that sticks out that looks like a bit of a mistake.
Now, circling back to the Euro here before I let you go, um, with the games that are coming up, have you, I guess, had time to even look at them? And if you have, do you have any leans initially? I would think, I guess, the Italy-Austria match is an obvious lean for you.
I've already
But
pretty much said
anything
everything I need to
else
say
like
about
that?
Italy. I think. I guess I didn't mention how well the Italians have been playing as far as 30 straight matches without a loss, over 1,000 minutes without conceding a goal.
That's
So
nuts.
they're a
I didn't know
well-deserved
that. A
favorite in that
thousand
match.
minutes.
1,000 minutes, yeah,
Wow. So that's like 10 games.
yeah, more than that, I think.
Yeah, because it's
90
90
minutes,
minutes and
90
then
minutes
extra
per
time.
game. Yeah.
Oh, what that's remarkable. I have to ask you, what's the all-time record if you know?
Well, that's Italy's all-time record. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not
It,
sure if there's another team out there that's conceded no goals for longer, but
that is remarkable. That's like a starting pitcher in baseball going 30 innings without allowing a run. I mean, that is
almost as
amazing.
good as Jake DeGrom, but not quite.
Yeah, exactly. And even he allows a run once in a while.
Very
Like every
rare.
blue moon now, but he allows one.
Mhm.
Well, that's good stuff. And again, where can people find you to get on board? I'm sure you have some packages over there for the Euro, this soccer tournament, and other things too. So I'll give you the mic here, and you can just plug yourself here a little bit and let people know where they can find you.
Well, I like what you said about the game of the years and the big plays. And I've done well with big plays. I've written articles about how well my game of the years have done. But the first sentence in the article that I'll write about my success in the game of the years is don't buy them. Don't buy them. Buy the monthly subscription. You get the game of the year. You get everything else. I charge a lot of money for my game of the years. I usually charge upwards of $100 for a game of the year play. It's poor value to buy that. Buy the subscription. Buy a week pass. Buy something else. Get in. So yeah, I'd say that take advantage of all my picks because I'm all over the map with different prop bets, different first half, first quarter bets with the NBA, with the NHL, and I guess just go have a look at my records, have a look at what I've done, get yourself comfortable with that, and sign up for whatever you can afford, a week, a month, a year. You won't regret it.
Yeah, I agree. I like how you presented that, and it's so refreshing to hear that because you're telling people not to get your game of the year, but basically get it for free by buying a 30-day subscription, and that's the smartest thing people can do. Start out with a 30-day subscription with Jesse and learn what he does. You can't learn how a handicapper does his research and produces his winning records unless you have at least 30 days of experience with him. And one game of the year, like I said, many times it's not 100%. And when they lose, I think people lose sight of the quality of the handicapper that they just picked one game and made a judgment on it. Give it 30 days and trust me on this, and I know you're going to be very glad you did.
Also, if you have that mentality where you just want my game of the year, you're just going to come and pay me $100 for my game of the year. That's all you want. It's a losing mentality because even if I win 9 out of 10, you're going to bet so much on that 10th one that lost, that one that lost. You're just going to keep on double. That kind of mentality. That's what it creates a problem like that, right? Whereas that one loss ruins you, and that's not a winning formula. The winning formula is you spread it out, you attack from a lot of different angles, you cover your bases, you diversify your portfolio.
Yep, that's exactly right. We do. Speaking for myself and a lot of other pros, 3, 4, 5% of the bankroll, and the 5%er is the top rated play. You can call it the game of the month, game of the year, what you can call it, whatever you want, but it's the 5%er, and that's the most that I will ever go to the window with. And number one, it keeps you out of trouble, but it also levels out your consistency and profits grind over time. This is not like, oh wow, I'm going to buy Jesse for 3 days and I'm going to make 10 grand. It doesn't work that way with anybody. You might actually be lucky and pick somebody like Jesse and maybe make 10 grand off of his plays. I mean, I'm not saying that can't happen, but that too can be dangerous because then you think, oh my God, this guy is Nostradamus, and then you up your wager to more than really you can afford, and that's where the dangers start really creeping in.
That is a serious problem for me. I've seen that so many times where customers get so convinced that you can't lose that they start betting their house to, taking too big a risk.
I always put in once in a while on a streak like remain disciplined, and then I'll get a comment from somebody that says, "Well, you really don't like the game then?"
Yeah.
No, just keep betting the same amount. Don't think about the winning streak. Don't think about extrapolating this trend out for the whole year. One day at a time.
I try to tell everybody that I like every game I put out. I like
Sure.
it. I bet the same amount, even my free picks.
Yep.
People say, "Oh, it's just a free pick." No. The free pick's just as good as the paid pick. Um, you know, I got a great record with free picks as well. So, and people do appreciate that. And yeah, I think that it's a mistake to put too much on one game.
Yeah, the free picks is like going to the car lot and being able just to look at the car and wow, that looks really good and it's fancy and I really like it. When you get the 30-day subscription, you actually get to drive the car on a racetrack and find out what it can really do. And I think that's a good analogy. I just came up with that. Standing there on the curb and looking at a car that you like is far different than getting a 30-day test drive of it. So get over to Sportsmemo and do it. I'm tired of promoting now. But Jesse, thanks for being on the show, and everyone, he'll be on. The tentative schedule right now is he'll be on at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday. And then we have goals for him to be on Manny's Irish Pub. He was in the chat room yesterday having fun. And it was great to see him in there, answering questions. You can ask us anything you want. It's a virtual
I really
pub.
enjoyed Buster's comments on the Canadians. I completely agreed with everything he was saying. I had the exact same bet as he did yesterday, Montreal plus a half for the first period. And I thought that was a pretty sharp take on it. And I was in full agreement with that.
Yeah, and with two of you agreeing like that, and that ends up being a free pick. Mm-hmm. That's the beauty of the whole thing. You can also kind of get a showroom look by coming to Manny's Irish Pub, and we have the most we ever had on in one show was seven guys from Wager Talk and Sportsmemo.com stop in to give their picks. And I don't know of another show on the planet that has that kind of number of people coming on, wanting to come on, and then willing to give a free pick. Like Jesse said, it's not throwing darts at a board and, I guess I'll give you the Phillies today. It's actually a legitimate pick that they go to the window with. So it's good for that alone, not because I host it, but it is fun to host. And Tony Finn is a riot. He's the modern day George Carlin. And if you haven't heard him, he gets us off the rails once in a while, and I just love it. But anyway, Jesse, thanks for your time today. And like I said, everybody, he'll be Wednesdays at 3 Eastern Time. And it's always promoted prior to 3 Eastern Time because it's a live show and it's archived. So I'm sure you'll see those promotions coming out from Sportsmemo and WagerTalk.com. And on behalf of them, Jesse Schule,